There was once a seeker who carried a heavy mind. Every day felt the same to him. Small struggles tasted too bitter. And even the good moments felt mixed with sorrow. He went to a wise teacher and said, "My life feels unlucky. Everything I touch turns sour." The teacher listened quietly. Then he asked the seeker to bring a handful of salt. He placed it into a glass of water and said, "Drink." The water became unbearable. The seeker spat it out and said, "It is too salty. I cannot drink this. Yant. IP. Wait. Wah." Then the teacher led him to a calm lake. He poured another handful of salt into the vast water and said, "Now drink." The seeker tasted the water. It was fresh. He could not even sense the salt. The teacher looked at him and said, "The salt is the same, but the container is different." He continued, "Your suffering is like this salt. When your mind is small, every difficulty becomes overwhelming. A small insult feels like a storm. A small failure feels like the end of the world. But when your mind is vast, steady, and open, the same difficulties lose their power to disturb you." The seeker stood in silence, watching the lake ripple gently. The teacher went on, "Life does not always change its salt. Pain, loss, and challenge will come in some form to everyone, but you can change the size of the vessel within you. Expand your patience, deepen your understanding, widen your awareness. Then, what once poisoned your peace will no longer define your state." From that day, the seeker began to practice watching his thoughts instead of being swallowed by them. He noticed how anger rose and fell like waves. He learned that not every feeling needed to become his identity. Slowly, life did not become perfect, but it became lighter. The same problems still appeared, yet they no longer ruled his heart. And he understood a simple truth. Life does not need to change first for peace to appear. The mind must change its space, and then everything else is seen differently. The salt represents life's problems, challenges, pain, disappointments, and hardships are like salt. Everyone experiences them, and they are a natural part of life. Every person who walks through life carries some form of salt. This salt is not something that can be seen with the eyes or held in the hands. It appears as worries, disappointments, failures, misunderstandings, losses, and moments of uncertainty. Many people believe that a peaceful life is one without difficulties. But experience shows that challenges visit everyone, regardless of wealth, status, or age. No one is completely free from hardship. The difference is not in the amount of salt each person receives, but in how they relate to it. When a challenge appears, the mind often resists it. It asks, "Why is this happening to me?" This resistance can make suffering feel even heavier. A small problem can grow into a great burden when it is constantly fed by fear, anger, or regret. Yet when difficulties are accepted as part of the natural flow of life, they lose much of their power. The wise understand that pain and obstacles are teachers. They reveal patience during difficult times, strength during moments of weakness, and wisdom through experience. Just as salt adds flavor to food, challenges can add depth to a person's character when approached with understanding. Life's problems are not always signs of bad luck. Often, they are opportunities to grow, learn, and discover an inner strength that might otherwise remain hidden. The Shendaiti glass represents a limited mindset. When the mind is narrow, negative thoughts and small problems feel overwhelming, making life seem bitter and difficult. A limited mindset is like a small glass filled almost to the top. When even a small handful of salt is added, the entire glass becomes bitter. In the same way, when the mind is trapped by fear, impatience, or negative thinking, even minor difficulties can feel overwhelming. A single criticism may ruin an entire day. One mistake may lead a person to believe they are a failure. Small setbacks begin to appear larger than they truly are because the mind has little space to process them. Many people suffer not only because of what happens to them, but because of the stories they create around those events. A delayed opportunity becomes proof that life is unfair. A disagreement becomes evidence that nobody understands them. The mind repeatedly returns to the same thoughts, making the problem grow larger with each repetition. This is how bitterness takes root. A narrow mindset focuses only on what is wrong and ignores what remains good. It becomes attached to immediate emotions and reacts without reflection. As a result, peace becomes difficult to find. When the mind is confined by rigid thinking, it loses its ability to see possibilities and solutions. Expanding awareness begins with recognizing that thoughts are temporary and circumstances change. The moment a person stops viewing every challenge as a personal defeat, the burden becomes lighter and life begins to feel less bitter. The lake represents an expanded mind. A calm, patient, and understanding mind can absorb difficulties without being consumed by them. Just as a lake dilutes the salt, when the mind becomes like a vast and open space, even the heaviest difficulties lose their power to overwhelm it. Just as a large body of water can dissolve salt without becoming bitter, an expanded awareness allows life's challenges to exist without turning every moment into suffering. This state of mind does not mean that problems disappear. Instead, it means the mind no longer reacts to every situation with fear, anger, or resistance. A broad mindset is built through patience, reflection, and understanding. It grows when a person learns to pause before reacting, to observe thoughts without immediately believing them, and to accept that not everything can be controlled. In this spacious awareness, emotions are still felt, but they are not allowed to take complete control. Anger rises, but it also passes. Sadness appears, but it does not define the entire life. Such a mind does not treat every challenge as a personal attack. It recognizes that difficulties are part of nature, just like changing seasons. Some days are bright, others are cloudy, yet the sky remains unchanged behind them all. In the same way, inner peace is not destroyed by temporary events. With time, this openness transforms the way life is experienced. The same situations that once felt unbearable begin to feel manageable. The heart becomes lighter, and understanding replaces constant struggle. Peace comes from inner growth, not external change. True happiness is not achieved by removing every problem, but by developing wisdom, patience, and emotional strength. True peace does not come from arranging life so that no problems appear, but from developing a mind that is no longer easily disturbed by them. Many people search for happiness by changing their external circumstances, hoping for better jobs, more money, ideal relationships, or perfect conditions. While these changes may bring temporary comfort, they do not guarantee lasting peace, because life naturally continues to bring new challenges in different forms. Inner growth begins when a person realizes that control over the outside world is limited, but control over one's response is always possible. In that realization, attention slowly shifts from trying to fix everything outside to understanding what is happening inside. Thoughts, emotions, and reactions become the true focus of transformation. When patience develops, situations that once caused frustration begin to feel less threatening. When understanding deepens, other people's actions are seen with more clarity rather than immediate judgment. When awareness increases, the mind no longer gets completely carried away by every passing emotion. This does not mean that pain is ignored or life becomes emotionless. Instead, it means that pain is no longer multiplied by resistance and overthinking. Suffering becomes simpler and therefore lighter. In this way, peace is not something that must be chased in distant places. It slowly emerges within a person who learns to remain steady, even when life is not steady around them. Awareness transforms suffering by observing thoughts and emotions without becoming attached to them. A person can respond to challenges with clarity and balance instead of stress and frustration. Awareness is the key that transforms how a person experiences every moment of life. Without awareness, the mind reacts automatically to whatever happens. A single negative comment can trigger anger. A small mistake can create guilt. A delay can turn into frustration. In this reactive state, life feels heavy because every event is taken personally. And immediately, when awareness begins to develop, a small but powerful shift occurs. Instead of being completely absorbed by thoughts and emotions, a person starts to notice them. Anger is recognized as anger, not as "I am angry forever." Sadness is seen as a passing feeling, not a permanent identity. This simple act of observing creates space between the person and their experience. In that space, suffering naturally becomes less intense. Thoughts still arise, but they no longer have the same authority. The mind learns that not every feeling requires action, and not every emotion tells the full truth. With this understanding, impulsive reactions slowly reduce. Awareness also brings clarity in difficult situations. Instead of being overwhelmed, the mind becomes capable of choosing responses more wisely. Problems are no longer magnified by fear or imagination. They are seen more realistically, which makes solutions easier to find. Over time, this steady awareness changes the entire quality of life. Even in challenging moments, there is a quiet sense of stability. Life continues to bring change, but the mind becomes less shaken by it, resting in a deeper and more balanced understanding.